So my name is Cory Nordin. I am one of the professional managers for Eukanuba. So Eukanuba, and I actually work for Eukanuba and Royal Canin. We are a high-level dog food. We focus a lot on a lot of the niche products that are needed for dogs that have real specific needs. And Eukanuba, what I deal with is primarily with working dogs. For most of my adult life, I worked in the zoo industry. I used to manage programs primarily for elephants, but also rhinos, hippos, all kinds of animals. And obviously, a huge part of my time there was spent in animal training, developing behaviors, and I spent a lot of time actually doing seminars on animal training, but not in the dog world. But the other side of that is when working in the zoo space like that, there's a ton of research being done on nutrition because they don't make kibble for a lot of those animals. So we have to understand how these nutrients play a role in their life. So whenever I joined Royal Canin, one of the reasons why I was really excited to move here is because they are very science heavy. And I get to be, I don't train it the way I used to, but I get to be, especially in the working dog space, I get to be surrounded by high level trainers all the time, and it helps me kind of scratch that itch. But most of my time has always been behavior or nutrition related. Ideally, a big part of what we do is provide education. I mean, we have diets that are specifically formulated, which is great. But a huge part of our mission is making sure that these dogs are healthy, that they have as long of a working life as possible. And so we try to provide a lot of information that we get through the science that we use to develop our foods. So when it comes to working dogs in general, what we find is there's a big gap there on the knowledge for especially medical treatment, nutrition, some of those things. So several years back, Royal Canin actually partnered with Penn Vet to create a veterinary course that they can take to get a specialization in working dog medicine. And we kind of carry that tradition forward with a lot of what we do current day. So some of the specialties that we look at that are very different are things like the caloric need for working dogs. They need a lot more calories than a typical dog does. But the challenge is too much food causes GI issues, and we have problems there. So the strategy of how to feed them is a little different than a pet. And that's what we try to do, is get out there and spread that information, because most of the information that's readily available, even for handlers, is based on pets. So the idea of being able to bring some real science to them and show them how they can be healthier, how they can have more of those calories. There's a lot of, exposure risk. So decontamination, needs for antioxidants for that stuff. It's all about how can we make this diet really help them excel, and then how can we deliver the education to them so that they know how to make the right choices. So typically when I'm doing an evaluation or a consult with either an apartment or a group of dogs, we look at a lot of things. I mean, what's the body condition of the dog? There's several different ways that we can look at body condition, but current trend with pets are for them to be very over-conditioned. And for dogs that work, that has a pretty negative impact on their performance, on their ability to smell, all of those things. So usually when I do a consult, what I'll do is I'll just do a general evaluation of the dog. Let's look at body condition, coat quality. Let's look at their teeth. Or do they have any kind of discharge, ear issues, skin issues, anything that can track back to a potential GI issue. And we work from there. If they're doing great where they're at, then we don't want to mess with them, because transitioning dogs on dog food is also a risk. So the idea is we evaluate, see if we see any deficiencies, if they're having any issues with it. And if so, and if it's something we can make an impact on, then that's typically where we go. But it'll usually be things based on performance, olfactory ability, any of that kind of stuff. You can't replicate a lot of this stuff in a sterile environment. So the idea is actually finding these dogs in the field doing what they do, and then being able to gather information for them there so that we understand how they are outliers compared to pets. So the best place to find anytime you're looking for any kind of Royal Canin Eukanuba products, the great thing is we have a professional team out there, but you can reach us at royalcanin.com, at myroyalcanin.com if you need to order food. And the other thing is you can always call any of our numbers, which is on any of our bags, and you can ask for the professional manager. If you're in the working dog space, you will get directed directly to me. Yeah, so social media, the interesting thing is with Eukanuba and with Royal Canin, most of our referrals are done by our users. And a huge part of what we do is we do engage with people that are very active in social media and some of those things. But we do post you can look us up at Eukanuba and Royal Canin on Facebook, Instagram. We have several different pages out there that we post on. But a lot of what we do is just search hashtag Eukanuba on any of the platforms, and you'll see a lot of the people out in the real world using our product and what they're doing with it.